Hi, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're going to talk about steaks. I know it's cold in most of the country right now, so we're going to do a pan-seared ribeye. Now the same principles are going to apply to grilling and to searing. For a thin piece like this, very high heat, it's got to be like ripping hot and cooked quickly, because if you cook it slowly it'll overcook and it won't really have the texture and the crust on the outside that we're looking for. The first thing you want to look for when you're buying a steak is what's called marbling. So as it cooks, the fat inside there, that's going to melt out into the meat and keep it nice and moist. I don't like a lot of things on my steak. I'm a meat, salt, pepper guy. So that's all we're going to do right here. And salt, I mean salt. This is kosher salt. I like to put it on right before it goes in the pan, because if you put it on too soon, it melts into the meat and it'll kind of draw moisture out. So if you let this sit, it's going to draw some water out, and that's going to prevent it from getting a really nice crust on it if it's wet when it goes in the pan. So this pan is really hot now. I'm going to go ahead and turn it up a little, and just put a little extra virgin in here because it's going to be a quick cook. We're going to have some smoke coming up pretty quick here, which is what we want. And then when you put this in here, make sure you fold it down away from you instead of toward you. If you fold it away from you, if there's any splash, it'll go that way as opposed to this way. When it goes in, I'm just going to press it down just slightly to make sure that it's all touching the pan, because this is going to be the crust that we're forming on that side. So turn this down to medium, because if it's at full blast heat, it's just going to keep getting hotter and hotter. That's the nature of an iron skillet. Holds heat very well. If it were on a grill, we turn it and do all this stuff, but being that it's on a cast iron pan, we want to just leave it alone and just let it do its thing. This is my special Dwayne Link steak turner, custom made. One of my cousins made this for me. And what I'm looking for, I can peek at it right here. See how that salt's forming a crust? But you're waiting for a solid crust to form across the bottom. All right, so maybe probably about 4 minutes on this side. I'm going to flip this over. See how we have that nice crust? I'm just pressing it down a little bit. I don't want to squeeze the juice out of it, but I want to make sure that it gets a sear on that side too. And just like the other meats that we talked about, they need to rest. Just about 5-7 minutes. We don't want it to get cold. This part I'd probably eat before it ever made it to the table. There's no snack part right there. To me, this is two steaks. The eye of the ribeye, the cap of the ribeye. Again, I'm a meat and salt kind of guy, so I have some good sea salt here. Please don't put Worcestershire on this steak. There's really no reason to have sauces. And what do we drink with that? I'm looking at a 2000 Barolo. Starting to get rusty. If you're looking for wines that have some grip to them, I would stick with a Barolo or a Cabernet to go with the steak. Seared ribeye.